his questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Which of the witnesses is proposing that the government should take some kind of action? Raise your hand. Okay, Ms. Toner, what is the action that you think the government needs to take?
So I have several suggestions. Perhaps the top priority would be to expand the current voluntary collaborations that are being undertaken between national security parts of the US government and the US's leading AI companies. So there are some early efforts right now. They include threat intelligence sharing with the intelligence community. So they are working hand in hand in similar ways to how they do with critical infrastructure providers or our defense industrial base to ensure that when there are incoming threats, when we do have state-based actors trying to infiltrate our US companies, they're trying to find unclassified ways to ensure that the companies are aware and can prevent those threats and defend against them. There's also very valuable collaborative testing going on.
Which direction is most important? The government sharing information with the companies or the companies sharing information with the government?
I think they're both very important. Perhaps if I had to pick one, I'd say the government sharing information with the companies, but I think there has also been valuable threat reporting from the companies as well. There's also been within the Department of Commerce a dedicated institute, the AI Safety Institute, that has been, again, on a voluntary basis, working with some of these leading companies to test their new, most advanced systems. So these are systems where the companies themselves say, we think they might soon be able to aid in the creation of bioweapons. They might soon be able to help not very sophisticated hackers hack into US critical infrastructure. They might pose other threats. And there are ways in which having access to classified information, classified expertise, allows the government to actually help those companies do tests that they want to be doing anyway.
Do you think the collaboration should be compulsory?
No, most likely not, but it should certainly be resourced and authorized and expanded.
Dr. Jensen.
I guess you were seeing in my eyes I'm more the small government guy. I think you're seeing broad agreement on a number of things.
But you did raise your hand.
I did a little tipsy-tipsy.
Okay, yeah.
We do have...
Which concerns me. Just kidding.
We'll settle it over bourbon.
I'm interested in your answer.
Yeah, so I would say this. You have broad agreement about the need to provide cybersecurity. Now, whether that's an incentive from the government, and then there's some minimum viable standard that industry is held to, or whether there's more of a government can reach in and monitor everything from the employees to the company to, push someone, what becomes like voluntary sharing becomes voluntold sharing. And so I would tend to think we agree on quite a bit here, but let's talk about that split difference, because showing our differences is important for you all as a committee. And I would say I tend to think that smaller, less government is what's important, because that's what's actually allowed these companies to grow, these companies to thrive. Now, we have to balance that against that you have a large, predatory communist state that is directly targeting them. So there's a question of what is the federal government's national security obligation to protect US persons and companies versus not overreaching with regulation to have them spending the marginal dollar to hire attorneys or to invest in some system that they're not spending in the lab trying to develop a new edge to the frontier model or some new component. So that is a really hard balance to strike, so I don't envy your job, but I'm glad you're all going to do it, because it means the basic protections that even the Federalist Papers were talking about. It means thinking about what does it look like to declassify sensitive intelligence information where we document this so that it's admissible in our courts or in courts in other free societies. So I think what you're seeing is we broadly agree on the need to help companies help themselves with cybersecurity. We broadly agree that the federal government has a role. We might disagree on the extent of that role. And then we also agree that these companies really are going to define our economic growth and prosperity into the coming century.
I have another question, and probably Dr. Villaseñor, you might be the one to answer this. Are AI companies looking to use trade secrets because patents aren't necessarily conducive to protecting their intellectual property?
It's a great question. There's a subset of innovations that could be protected either as trade secrets or patents, but trade secrets have a far broader scope. They can protect far more. There are plenty of things that are protectable by trade secrets. For example, long lists of files of source code. You can't just get a patent on 1 million lines of source code, but that source code is certainly a trade secret. And so there's an enormous amount of intellectual property that is not protectable as a patent, but that is nonetheless vital to the value and value proposition and differentiation of the company.
Isn't the biggest trade secret risk here is somebody just comes in and hires the employees?
Well, I would hope that employees would respect their confidentiality obligations. It is certainly the case that there have been problems like that, but I think that's one risk. There's hacking. There's many risks to trade secrets.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. We now go to the ranking